Don't be pressured in social situations. When I speak of a social situation, I mean when you go to a food joint or you meet up with a group of classmates and there are a lot of people you're not familiar with, or if you attend a job fair when you're supposed to go with a couple of friends but you're surrounded by strangers. And somehow, little by little, there is this feeling of tenseness and stress and nervousness that makes you not want to go there, to where it makes your body vibrate or shake. I'm sure it varies for everyone, but this is societal pressure. It's mostly seen as a lingering feeling that arises in settings, usually involving other people, from the very basic level of talking to strangers, or feeling like you need to fit or conform to a group dynamic. I have an excellent personal example. When I joined the track team in my third year of high school many years ago, I was part of the distance team. And I only had one friend, let's call him A. He was my main buddy in the entire sports team. There was one so-called team building event in which the entire team of track, and mostly in our case distance, we would have to go to the local Chili's restaurant and we just go eat, socialize, have a good time. Now sure, it doesn't sound too bad. I mean, it's a restaurant with free food. But the issue that I felt back then, I never actually was on any good terms. I didn't actually speak to anyone besides my one friend A, and I didn't actually know anything about these people, and they didn't know anything about me. It just so happens that we were all on the same sports team, but somehow we just never really got to talking. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You join an organization or a club, and there's always going to be a fair amount of people you just never really know anything about. So fast forwarding, when I arrived there, yes, my one friend was there, but he was on good speaking terms with nearly the entire division, whereas me, I felt ostracized. I felt tense nervousness, and every fiber of my being was telling me to just back out and leave. And yes, there were just a few random seats, but they were next to people I didn't even know. This is a very high-stress social situation. The social pressure was building in me very fast, very swift. So even now, I'm thankful that my friend A, he saw that I was stressing out. And when I get stressed, I sweat a lot. He offered me a seat next to him. And even though it was sort of an awkward dinner, the free food was nice, and I left. So when I look back on that one event, that one social setting, it really hits me that social situations like that can really tear a person apart if they're not prepared. And even something as simple as planning conversations can really go a long way, because it goes to show that you at least would make the efforts to just put yourself out there even a little bit and keep a good impression. Now, that being said, let's take it a step further. If you are the kind of person who keeps on conforming to group settings, inevitably you will end up losing the connection with yourself. Now, the main reason why I purposely did not socialize with the rest of the division, because the majority of them were, one, they were younger than me, and two, they were all very immature. They kept talking about how it's okay to miss assignments, fail quizzes, pass a test because their grades are high enough, and even something as sickening as, oh, I can get an F on a test, I can miss assignments, and if I can pass with a D or a C, that's more than enough for me. So what I did, even as a young teenager high on stress at the time, I lied and I said things about myself that weren't exactly true, even if the exchanges were brief. I just straight up said, oh yeah, no, I'm in a geometry class, and yeah, there's a couple of quizzes. Sometimes I just don't really feel like doing it because I'm gonna pass with a D plus and whatever. And while sure, I may have gotten a few smiles of some of the other people, deep down, this hurt me, this eroded me from the inside, as I'm kind of forcing myself to lie about qualities that are not me. And after that night, after that specific event, that setting, I told myself that if I ever get into a kind of situation like that ever again, I would always stay true to myself. Now, you want to know how to eliminate social pressure in these kinds of situations. And the best surefire way to do so is to maintain your personal boundaries and respect. It's simple, but it goes a very long way. You don't always have to restrict yourself to other people's expectations. You should not lose yourself to the pressure of the situation at the cost of yourself. Like I said, me lying about how it's so cool to fail tests and skip quizzes, when I look back on it, it wasn't a smart thing to say. I don't think anyone should say that kind of thing. The better, more respectable thing that I should have done was just politely stand my ground and exclaim, oh, no, I study hard. I want to get good grades for the future so I can get a good job. Anyone would respect that reason, even if it's a group setting, because it means you are sticking to your beliefs. So don't be afraid to decline getting into these kinds of situations and circumstances that you may find unsuitable, as everyone's definition of fun and enjoying these types of social situations do vary. What one person enjoys isn't exactly the same for another. So above all, it's vital to declare your boundaries and your values right off the bat if it's needed, so people will be aware of where you stand. If someone says something uncomfortable and forces you into a situation, don't lie. Don't say things just to agree with them or just to look cool. Stand your ground. Say something that's true to yourself. And even if the group doesn't believe you, heck, why should you conform to them? Because you don't even know these people. The opinions of you don't really matter. You should always prioritize yourself first. So stick to your values and stay true to yourself.